Hi everyone, it's Lauren, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my favourite theatre productions that I saw in 2016. This is obviously not a comprehensive list of all of the best productions that happened in London that year, but it's stuff that I really enjoyed seeing, and this is like just a space for me to gush about what I really enjoyed. So this includes musicals, plays and ballet. And the first production I want to talk about, which is actually probably more of an event than a production, and it's a bit more of an honourable mention because it was just Audra McDonald in concert. If you do not know who Audra McDonald is and you like musical theatre, then where have you been? Because she's absolutely stellar. She's got like 4 or 5 Tonys, I think she's got now. She's got the record for the most Tonys on Broadway, and she's never in the West End. But she did come to London earlier this year for 2 very special performances at the Leicester Square Theatre. Really small, really intimate, and she just sang with a piano, and that was it. And it was just wonderful. She's one of the best singer-actress kind of combinations that I've ever seen. And she was supposed to come over to London and be in the musical Lady Day, which is the Billie Holiday musical, but unfortunately she got pregnant and had to have a baby, which, you know, I think really, it made me question her commitment, to be honest, but I imagine she will be back in Lady Day at some point in the future in London, which I cannot wait for. Something that I do love is the transience of theatre and the fact that it is sort of blink and you miss it and then you can't go back and see these performances, but then there is always that bittersweet feeling that you feel that something should have got more press or more people should have seen it than they actually did. And these are the next 2 things that I have on my list. The first of these is Grey Gardens, which is a musical about the Beale family. If you've seen the documentary Grey Gardens, which is about Jackie O's cousin and her aunt, it's this bizarre documentary. They are living a very strange life at that point, and it was made into a musical several years ago on Broadway, which I absolutely love. It's a little bit weird, but I love it. And it was brought to London starring Sheila Hancock and Jenna Russell. It's a tale told in 2 halves. In the first act, Jenna Russell is playing the elder Edith Beale, and another person is playing little Edie, and in the second act we've kind of fast forwarded in time and Jenna Russell is playing little Edie and Sheila Hancock is playing her mother, and it's just, I've never seen kind of physicality like it. When it was first out in Broadway, you kind of thought nobody else could ever play that part, and Jenna Russell just completely blew that out of the water, and it was just so good. I didn't love the direction of the piece, but in terms of performances, it was completely flawless. And the other, in my opinion, very underappreciated production of this year was Ragtime at the Charing Cross Theatre. Ragtime is based on the book by E.L. Doctorow, which is about New York in the very early 1900s. It's about race and immigrants and the rich white classes and all of that sort of tumbling down and being built up. But it's very, very interesting. And this production was absolutely fantastic. The Charing Cross Theatre is very, very small, and we were very, very close, so I felt like I was just kind of looking up people's noses, but all of the cast played their own instruments. It was a real ensemble piece. I just think it was a shame because the stage was very small, it felt quite crowded, and also it just wasn't promoted. I mean, I knew about it, but I like Ragtime. I don't think Ragtime's a very well-known musical in the UK, so if you didn't like it anyway, there's no way you would have noticed the promotion and gone, oh yes, I'll go and watch it. So it was just on for such a short run, and I seriously doubt it will transfer to the West End, which it really deserves to do because the performances were amazing. And in terms of musicals, in terms of what's happening in the US at the moment, issues with race, and it's just so timely and just so important. I just think more people should have seen it. I think it's such a shame that it's now closed. Something you can still go and see, which is on in London still at least, is Beautiful, which is the musical about Carole King's life. I went to see this earlier this year. It's been out for a while, but I only saw it this year. This is just a feel-good musical. It's got all the songs of Carole King and also songs from the 60s that you wouldn't even have known that she wrote. It's very fun, it's very tongue-in-cheek, but it's really slick. It's really fun. There's not one poor performance in it, and it's just a really good time. I also took my nan to see it for her birthday, and she really enjoyed it as well. Moving on to ballet, I've actually tightened my belt a bit this year and not seen as much ballet as I normally do, but there is one performance that I would recommend if you get a chance to see it again. The Royal Opera House had had a celebration of Wayne McGregor's choreography, because he's been a choreographer there for 10 years now, and they put on a triple bill of his work. The first two dances, Chroma and Carbon Life, I absolutely adored. So I've seen Chroma before. It's a very simple production with flesh-coloured costumes, and it's just in a white box as a set, and there are dances as groups, in couples, in threes, and it's done, the orchestration is based on White Stripes songs, so it's got kind of Seven Nation Army kind of blaring out with a full orchestra, which I think is incredible, and it's just very simple. I think this is when Wayne McGregor is at his best, when he's doing very, very simple things. It comes out beautifully, and I just really loved the choreography. I can't explain why it gave me an emotional response, but it did. Carbon Life was very, very different, but I loved it equally. It had amazing music. We had live band at the back with really incredible singers and rappers, and what I enjoyed about this is that it played with a lot of things. So you had big chorus numbers which were very androgynous. All of the dancers were just wearing black sort of little tight pants, and the female dancers had bandeaus on, so it just looked like it was flesh coloured on the top. And it also played with gender later on, where male dancers were kind of on point, and you sort of couldn't tell which gender each dancer was. It was very, very interesting, and just the performance level again was very, very good. The third ballet on this bill was called Multiverse, which is a new ballet commissioned, and I really, really did not like it. It was supposed to be about sort of the refugee crisis in the first half, and then the second half was like this weird future, but it was just so messy, so overdone, and I can't, it's such a weird experience for me, because I was watching it going, this is why people don't like modern dance, because this is too much. But I couldn't quite articulate why Multiverse was what I don't like in terms of pretension, and in modern art and modern dance, and why Carbon Life and Chroma I absolutely adored. It's very interesting, and I think he was just trying to do too much. He had too many things going on stage, and you couldn't look at it, and I didn't like it at all. But I think that's what you get with new choreography and new work, and it's always intended to push boundaries and do something a little bit new. So if you ever do get a chance to see anything by Wayne McGregor, I would recommend it, because I've found in other things that I've seen by him, I kind of either love it or hate it, so it's a very interesting experience. And finally we have another triple bill that I saw, but this time it is a play, and this was the Donmar Warehouse. They've put on a triple bill of Shakespeare plays, and these were all female productions of Julius Caesar, Henry IV and The Tempest. And the concept of the piece was that this was a women's prison, and you were going into a women's prison to watch the prisoners put on a piece of theatre, and what the prisoners are doing is a rehabilitation programme through theatre to help them. And so it's very interesting the way it's done. They kind of use odd props. It's very, very sparse, but it was incredible. You could go and watch all 3 productions in one day, which is what me and my friend did, and that was a very intense day, but it was really good. And there's points where the characters kind of broke character and they were their prisoner selves again, and things were going wrong. The newest production was The Tempest, and that was my favourite. They have put on Julius Caesar and Henry IV in the past, and they revived them again because of The Tempest, and The Tempest is now gone to New York. So in January and February it will be playing in New York. So if you are in New York and you want to go and see the Donmar's production of The Tempest, I would very highly recommend it. So that is what I've been loving on the stage this year. I have another video coming soon where I'm going to be talking about everything that I'm looking forward to, which is coming up in 2017. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite production of the year has been, and I will see you next time. Bye!